It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazawey. Let's talk some sports.
Let's talk some sports. It is Monday, December 5th, 2022. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com, and the Fox 2 News app. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, good freaking afternoon to you, my friend.
Oh, I knew you were going to be pumped up.
Oh, baby!
You got the Detroit Lions? You got the Michigan Wolverines?
Oh, baby!
Is it everything you want?
Come on now!
Ohio State made it into the playoffs. You excited?
I'm ready for it.
Let's
Give me a
bring it.
rematch.
You heard JJ? Sure, bring it. All the smoke. I'm excited, man. How you doing?
Speaking of smoke, my goodness, you look like absolute fire today,
Appreciate
Braylon
that.
Edwards. Can I get you to maybe
You
stand up
Okay,
and just
sure.
do a little once over? Just give us the old dipsy-do dunkaroo right in the middle. Look at this guy. Look at this guy, Braylon Edwards. Give me the old twirl there for the ladies and gentlemen out there. Look at this guy in the Michigan maize and blue, the Block M, everybody. Braylon freaking Edwards, Tom Mazawey, good afternoon to you.
I wish I could just look 10% as good as that guy.
Ah, you're too kind, buddy.
Go
You're too
Blue,
kind.
go Lions. What a great day to be a Detroit sports fan again.
Shout out to Jared Wangler as well as John Wangler, Michigan legends. Valiant, if you will, one of the first apparel brands licensed to Michigan. Jay Wangler gave me this outfit in the mail, maybe 2017. I said, when am I ever going to wear a Michigan full suit? Last year, if you remember, I wore the jacket, but I wore the jacket with some jeans and I took it off. I said, you know what? Why not? We've been predicting 13-0. You predicted national championship at the beginning of the year. Here we are. Why not wear the suit today?
You know what? And guys, that's where we're going to start. We'll get into plenty of Lions talk today. Absolutely. That football team is playing as good a football as we've seen since Jim Caldwell was the head coach here.
No.
This is as good a stretch as we've seen in a long time. We'll certainly talk about that. But we're going to start with the Michigan Wolverines. For the first time in school history, a 13-win season. Never before have they done that. First back-to-back Big Ten outright championships, Braylon, since 91-92. That's a long time ago. Of course, 03-04 was the last back-to-back
But
championship.
we didn't win outright in 04.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So the last back-to-back outright Big Ten champs since 91 and 92. This thing has been fun. What a ride it's been. Braylon, you were there.
What a ride it's been, and like you said, I was there. I was down in Indy, and just the attitude and just the moment is great. As you see, shout out to Fletch for that. This was fun. I had Phil Sweets with the Discover. That was your guys in Detroit should recognize this guy. It's Cliff Averill right there, Purdue legend. Had a fun time, but it's just fun to watch the fans. The fans waited a long time for the Michigan Wolverines to respond in kind, to be the Michigan that they represented, be way better than the Michigan that they represented. They took a lot of shots for the last 13, 14, 15, 16, 20 years, and now here they are back on top of the mountain in a way in which they've never been on top before. The energy is there. The alums are excited. The fans are excited. And the one thing I'm learning and I'm watching is Michigan fans aren't taking it for granted. I think you saw along the way Ohio State kind of started taking it for granted, the Big Ten, being in the playoffs every year. I mean, they backed in this year, but they only have one loss. But the Michigan fans aren't taking it for granted. Hell of a season, hell of a ride, and they just keep finding ways to showcase more and more talent, more players going into the playoffs. I mean, Loveland the last 3 weeks, so excited.
You talk about the way this team is winning football games, Braylon, and they're doing it with these younger guys. It's a great mix,
Yeah.
but Loveland in the end zone looks like Shannon Sharp already.
My God, the high point on that was amazing.
Will Johnson with 2 interceptions
Good boy.
in the game. Both guys, true freshmen. When we talk about this,
Mullins.
the quarterback's a sophomore, the running back's a sophomore. Many guys up on the defensive line, freshmen, sophomores. I mean, it's just incredible to see the dominance in which this football program has begun to take over, especially the Big Ten Conference.
And before we get into the X and O's next segment, Maz as well as Ryan, the good thing about seeing is these guys are very excited about one another. And we'll talk about the Lions as well, because I see a lot of that same similarity in the Detroit Lions in terms of winning together, being happy together. But that's what Michigan's doing right now. The running backs are excited. You know, you look at Aidan Edwards, he's the guy, but he's equally as excited when Mullins scores his 2 touchdowns as when he scores. You look at Cornelius Johnson is excited when Loveland scores his 2 touchdowns, or Schoonmaker. Everybody wants to win. They don't care how they get it done. Hey, you get 200. Hey, you get 150. Hey, this game I have a couple catches, but you get your 200. I'm blocking for you. We're winning on the defense. Everybody is getting involved in it. Like I always tell you, Lloyd told me, when the team wins, everybody wins, and everybody's eating right now at University of Michigan.
You know, we talk about the dominance too, Maz, and I want to get you involved here a little bit too. This, over the last 2 years, and this does feel a little bit different from last year, I think, Braylon. I want you to weigh in. This feels different. Last year it felt like, oh, man, woo, we beat Ohio State. Michigan beat Ohio State. Are you kidding me? Haven't done that in so long. And what's this Indianapolis situation? I've never even realized that Michigan could come to Indianapolis. Yeah. Heaven forbid a college football playoff. Oh, we're just happy to be there. Let's get our teeth kicked in by the University of Georgia. That's not what this is. That's not what this year feels like.
No, it doesn't. I watched that game on Saturday night. I was so comfortable and relaxed watching that game, watching a team that really probably had a hard time getting up to play Purdue. Purdue played pretty darn good, especially their quarterback. He doesn't throw for a lot of touchdowns, but that kid, he has a good touch on the ball.
Yeah, I agree.
They have some great players. That Charlie Jones, that wide receiver, he's pro-ready already. And the way Michigan just took care of business, relaxed. You know what? We're going to get him in the second half. You know what? We're going to get him in the fourth quarter. They just kept rolling, man, and they basically they just coasted in and looked like it was like the spring game. You knew that they were just going to get that job done. They looked like they were practicing, getting ready for a bigger game ahead. I'm very proud of the way Jim Harbaugh got this team ready, the way they all play for each other. It was a pleasure to watch, and it made me happy that I've been rooting for Michigan for 50-plus years.
It made everybody excited, Tom, and you bring up a good point. But, thinking about Michigan this season, the one thing that I've said early on in the season, I think it was around the Penn State game where I kind of started to pay attention to it. Penn State was after the Iowa game. Michigan knows how to win any type of game. If you look at this season, if you look at how the games have unfolded, they played many different type of games. You look at Iowa. They struggled a little bit in Iowa the first 3 quarters, really got it going in the third and in the fourth quarter. You look at the Penn State game. They dominated on defense in the first half, but it took them to the second half to get some points going. 1, they're a second-half team. 2, look at the Ohio State game. Came out, struggled a little bit in the first quarter. Second quarter, they go back and forth. Ohio State starts to look like they're the team. Michigan responds in kind, goes down only 1 at the half, and then you come out and you just blow the doors off Ohio State. Notice it keeps being a second-half team. You look at the Illinois game, struggled in that game all the way to the end, but guess what? They got the bottom line, which was the win, Ryan Ermanni. And then you go into the Big Ten championship game after the Ohio State game and the way you played in that one. You haven't played against Purdue in 3 years. Purdue is a guy, a Coach Brom. Brom's a team. They do a lot of trick plays. They have a lot of specialized plays. When you haven't played them in a very long time, it's like playing the Pac-12 team for the first time. So they're going to make some plays here and there. But ultimately, they stayed in there. They stayed the course. They were on point, and they made the plays when it counted, whether it was Will Johnson both times in the red zone. They got the stops that you needed, and guys made plays. So Michigan can win any type of game at this current moment.
Will Johnson could have been MVP.
He could have been, absolutely.
100%.
I want to point out that is something that you've been kind of pitching and telling people all year long about, Michigan can beat you running the ball, Michigan can beat you throwing the ball, Michigan can beat you with the dink and dunk, they can beat you deep. They can
beat you ugly.
They can beat
you big.
They could win a game 52-40, and they could win it 19-17.
100%.
And that's what they're doing. Maz, you had mentioned something. It had to be hard, and Braylon, you'd be able to speak to this more than anybody. It had to be hard, and I know it's a Big Ten championship game, and you get up for it and everything like that. But as somebody who is an alum watching the game, excited to watch the game, I watched that game. I don't want to say emotionally dead, but I watched the game almost as if it was an afterthought that they were going to win. It was with very little emotion that I was watching the game, especially early. As a player, I can only imagine how hard it was to get up for a game like that after leaving everything you had on the field in Columbus, winning there. Because what does Nick Saban say? You can really only get up for 2 games.
Yeah.
You can really only get up to play 2 games in any particular year. And now they're going on to the postseason. I'm sure it's different. But in a regular season, 2 games. So it took a while for them to get going again, and that was to be expected, I think.
They started off fire. I mean, if you look at the first drive, they go down there, score a touchdown on the opening drive. Then they come back. I take that back. They dominated Purdue. Like, if you watch the first series with Purdue, they dominate Purdue, make Purdue go 3 and out. Then they come back and they score a touchdown. It looks like it's going to be a rout. But one thing Coach Brohm is, he knows how to spread you out. He knows how to use Maccabee. Maccabee is a hell of a running back, by the way. You talk about Charlie Jones, Maz. Maccabee's a hell of a running back, by the way. By the way, that fake flea flicker was one of the – if Michigan does not steal that, they are morons.
Braylon?
They are morons. That play was so
nice.
like, I'm talking about, I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, man, they're about to try – wait, he still has – wait, he's going – wait, is he going to – that was one of the smoothest plays that I have ever seen.
I've never seen it before. In fact,
I saw Boise State ran against Oklahoma in that random 2008.
That was a Statue of Liberty game.
They ran 3 trick plays.
Wow.
But to your point, it was amazing watching that. So they're one of those type teams. They execute, very well in moments, big game moments, they execute well. But you know what? When you look at the ring, because I hung out with some of the guys after the game. I won't say any names of who I hung out with. Hung out with some of the guys after the games. You see the energy. You saw the ring from last year. They didn't win it all last year, but they won the Big Ten championship ring. That Big Ten championship ring, the biggest ring I've ever seen in my life. Like, how can you, if you're a guy on a team and you weren't there last year, how could you not want one of those rings? How could you not want to play against TCU and then have a chance to play against Ohio State? And don't wait, I got something in this show for Ohio State. But how could you not want a chance to play in a moment like that? So even though for us, we're looking at, and Maz said it, and Maz and Brandy talked about it, hey, don't overlook it. 1 game at a time, for sure. So we are, as fans, overlooking Purdue. But that's not what Michigan's doing. Michigan is focusing on every step at a time, individual of that step. So they were ready and they got up.
I will say this, too. Kudos to Jim Harbaugh. We've been trying to give him his flowers all throughout the last part of the season, specifically. The run that he's got Michigan on right now is
never been seen before.
Seriously. And Jamie Morris had mentioned it. Braylon, you were talking about it earlier in the season when, he moved Ron Bellamy to wide receiver coach. You just look at the staff.
Yeah.
Look at the staff. I mean, he changed. He got younger in that staff. Younger coaches that relate to these players. He's having fun again. You talked about the open door policy he has. This is the program that I think all of us anticipated, and then some, when Jim Harbaugh was hired here in 2015.
This is what it looks like. This is Jim Harbaugh that we saw coming out of San Diego, winning in San Diego, going to the Stanford, getting that win over Pete Carroll and USC, turning that program around, going to the 49ers in 2011, the team which I was part of, turning that franchise around and getting to the Super Bowl in his 3rd season with the 49ers, coming to Michigan, getting the wins early, getting 10 wins early, taking his time, figuring out how to do it. Sometimes you got to learn how to win. Sometimes you got to learn how to coach. Sometimes you have to rethink your inks, and that's what he's done this year in spite of everything that happened in the offseason. He's come back and had a masterful season, and the players respond to him so well. You can just see the elation in the players. They love playing for Jim Harbaugh and this coaching staff.
So what now? What's next? We'll tell you about TCU. We'll tell you about the college football playoff. You'll see it all, plus some player news. Lots going on. We'll get to the Lions, baby. It's a big Monday. It's a victory Monday here.
When the Lions take a back seat, it's a huge Monday.
Somebody might have some apologizing to do when we start talking about the Lions.
Not today, though.
No, I'm talking about myself.
I know, but what I'm saying is you don't have to apologize for nothing today.
Hell no.
Oh, man, it's a victory Monday. But first, a message from Custom Health Centers. Give them a call today. Our friends, Dr. Jason at Custom Health. I'm telling guys, this program is guaranteed for you to lose weight. That's right. It takes the willpower out of weight loss. What is it? It is customized to you, what your body needs to lose weight. Whether it's 20 pounds or 120 pounds, doesn't matter. They have a program that fits your body. All you got to do is call this number, 1-844-789-THIN, 844-789-THIN.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Time to get your game on with Keller Williams Legacy out of Dearborn. My man Michael Phillips is the man. 23 years in the game. Number one for a reason, experience. Whether you're a player, whether you're a fan, helping you buy and invest is his top priority. Go to 313-403-0001, or excuse me, 313-403-0011. Game on.
There you go. Thanks for watching, everybody, on woodwardsports.com. While you're there, check out the shop. It is the holiday season. We've got some great items, Woodward Sports items on that shop as well. Over 120 different items you could choose from. I'm wearing a woodwardsports.com, Woodward Sports quarter zip today. Feeling real good.
Looking good over there, bro.
Thank you, buddy. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey, Fletch, JB in the house on a Victory Monday. College football playoff is here, guys. For the second straight year, Michigan will be involved. They are a 2 seed. They will play the 3 seed TCU. Georgia and Ohio State play on the other side. First of all, the Final Four selection.
Thank God.
Is anybody surprised at how it shook out? Because I'm a little surprised that TCU stayed at 3.
Why?
What did I tell you guys all last week? No one wants to listen to me. I said TCU would not move past 3, and I said Ohio State would get in at 4 if USC lost. And that's exactly what happened. You look at Ohio State. Ohio State has 1 loss. Their 1 loss is arguably to the best team in the country, the University of Michigan. Then you also look about something that you always talk about. How do you travel? How does your fan base travel? Money being the dollar sign. Ohio State's the number 1 brand in this that's not named Michigan. So now you have a chance for Michigan and Ohio State to play each other in the final in the national championship. Could you imagine the numbers with Ohio State and Michigan in the national championship at SoFi? It'd be the most watched national championship of all time. And when you look at it that way, this also happened, and I told you, it happened to Alabama and Ohio State in 2017. Ohio State won. They had 2 losses. They jumped Ohio State with Alabama, so I knew that this was a possibility of happening. And now nobody can complain. Like, no one can complain. Alabama can't complain because they had 2 losses. USC can't complain. They had 2 losses. No one really can complain. And TCU is not going to go down because at least they went 12-0, went to the conference championship, and then with their loss in the game in overtime. So they weren't going to get jumped by Ohio State necessarily. So I think it played out, to be honest, perfectly for the first time for the college football playoffs.
Yeah, I was nervous only because, of course, you got Nick Saban politicking on national TV. Why the Big Ten championship game puts him on, to me, was a disgrace. Don't put him on. I don't want to hear him. Hold on. I don't want to hear him. All right? You're sitting at 7. You have 2 losses. I don't give a damn if you lost two games at the end. That's your problem. All right? You have 5 games in there that you played patsies as well. Ohio State, Michigan, they all played patsies. TCU played the toughest schedule in the country. They take the number 10 team into overtime. Should have beat them. 2 bad calls down below. They had a touchdown. I still think it's a touchdown. It took them 10 freaking minutes to decide it wasn't a touchdown. Nonetheless, if you're sitting on your ass, you're not allowed to jump 1 spot, 2 spots. The only reason Ohio State got in is because no one else had a chance to go up.
There was literally nobody else.
You don't have a chance to play the extra game. You're not moving, man. Ohio State lucked out. I'm happy they're in there, though, but they lucked out.
And you only have to worry about this for one more season. This
Correct.
is you only have to do this for one more season before it moves to 12 teams. I think, first of all, I think they got it right.
They did.
I think Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Ohio State, they got it right. I was surprised. Now, that playoff chairman or whatever saying that they did not even consider Ohio State a Michigan rematch in the semis. Just don't lie to me. Don't insult my intelligence. I think you have to consider that. You know, we're all smart people. Don't lie to me and say that this never crossed your mind, getting a rematch in the final. I don't buy that. But I didn't realize that once TCU lost, they would stay at 3.
Yeah.
I thought I was not certain that they weren't going to take Alabama and say Georgia, Alabama 1-4, Michigan, Ohio State 2-3. I wasn't certain that wasn't going to happen. But I'm glad it didn't, because I do think they got the 4 teams that were the best teams in the country this year.
How about this? The weakest year that the Big Ten ever had, they get 2 in the Final 4.
Yeah.
That, to me,
wow,
that's something.
I didn't even think about that.
That's something.
The weakest year, and here, the weakest year, 100%. And also, what about the Heisman? I know I'm deviating real quick. It was the award. It was the one year where Michigan was going to sew it up.
Yep.
Blake Corum plays against Ohio State. He's the Heisman Trophy winner.
He is.
He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He plays against Ohio State.
He's a
Heisman Trophy. 100%.
Yep.
And I love Donovan Edwards for that. And also,
the Don.
That's his new nickname. And also, that Jim Harbaugh would have done everything in his power against Purdue to give the ball to Blake Corum in every way, shape, fashion for him to win that. But throw that tweet up there, Flesh. This is a tweet that I posted on Friday night. This is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly how I want it. You can read it, Ryan Ermanni. You can read it out loud.
The more I think about it, I pray USC loses. Then I hope Ohio State beats Georgia so that we can do it all over again at SoFi. I want Michigan to bury Ryan Day at Ohio State's program for good. Bring it. I think that's what a lot of us are rooting for. I would much rather face Ohio State in the final than Georgia. For a number of different reasons.
Heather Dinich got her wish.
Georgia looks like an absolute wrecking ball right now. They put up 50 on LSU.
LSU gave them 21.
Okay, fine. But they still put up
21.
They put up 50, then they put up 30.
Yeah.
Okay?
LSU was in that game. The block punt, the block field goal, they piddled that game away.
We are going to have a ton of time to talk about. For a month, we're going to be talking about this college football playoff situation. I am so happy with where Michigan is right now. I will say I think they have to beat TCU for me to, I'm not going to say call it anything other. This is a successful season. I don't even want to say everything's gravy now, but the way it's set up now, I think you have to beat TCU if you're Michigan to show continued progress for your program to inch one step closer to that national championship game.
You keep saying, I think. There's nothing about that process that we think. That's a known process. They can't do everything that they've done. They can't go 12-0. They can't beat Purdue in the
13-0.
Well, if you let me get there, they can't go 12-0. Then they can't beat Purdue in the Big Ten championship game to get 13-0. Only to go play against a TCU team that had a new head coach and Coach Dykes. Nobody knew anything about. Nobody expected anything about. And all of a sudden we go there and we lose a TCU, especially after they just lost in the Big 12 championship. It will not be a failure season as Jim Harbaugh, but it will not go down as a successful one as well.
I'm excited about it, guys. And
I love the matchup because you don't really get to see TCU. You don't get to see. I liked what I saw out of them the other day.
They're a tough team.
Their quarterback, and his name escapes me right now.
Max Duggan.
He could be a Heisman Trophy winner.
Side note. Side note, this is the first team out of the state of Texas that has reached a college football playoff, and it's TC freaking U.
Right.
Wow.
Think about that.
First team to the state of Texas, and this is the first college football playoff that won't have Alabama or Clemson since its inception.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I really like this, and I really like the way it's set up this year. Obviously, I think Georgia really got the raw end of the deal by facing Ohio State.
It's a tough one.
Too, right? I mean, Georgia at number 1 to face Ohio State, who may get Jackson Smith and Jigba back, who may get Trevion Henderson back. Do you think those guys play?
I got some inside information on Ohio State, their situation. I got some inside information too on the Mazi Smith information, the situation. We'll talk about that later. But I got inside information on Ohio State. You ready for it?
Please.
Those guys aren't going to play. If you notice the DB, I can't think of his name, number 13. He's their best DB. He's a guy that has first-round potential, second-round potential. Notice how he played in the game against Michigan. But he wasn't really trying to tackle guys. If you look at when Donovan was running, he kind of inched away from tackle, shied away from contact. You look at Trevion Henderson was healthy but didn't play. You look at Jackson Smith and Jigba was healthy but didn't play. And then C.J. Stroud only cares about his bottom line. It's what we talked about last week. They're a transactional team that cares about the NFL. They care about money, and that is all. They don't care about winning for the program. It's about their next step, which is the NFL. You won't see Jackson Smith and Jigba. Because his agents that represents all four of them. Jackson Smith and Jigba agent represents him, C.J. Stroud, Trevion Henderson, as well as the DB. Those guys won't play in the national. They won't play in the Final Four. Talking about Trevion Henderson and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Wow.
It's all about the NFL for them.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's
this ain't a bowl game, man.
100%. Both of those guys could have played against Michigan though, and they chose not to.
Come on.
Well, it's just kind of where we are right now.
Do you want to draft a guy like that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you do. What about the guy?
Nick Bosa did the same
that's
thing.
right. That's set out the whole season.
You're right.
I mean, people are choosing to sit out seasons. I don't begrudge anybody that decides what they want to do with their family.
It's their loss, though.
Here's the thing about it, though. You got to think about it. If Ohio State knows this is going on, Ryan Day knows that this is a thing. He knows this. But he can't say anything because he and Urban Meyer created this. He and Urban Meyer created that type of attitude down there at Ohio State where it's like, it's about this. It's about the individualism. So they can't say anything. What are they going to say? Expose them when you guys have been doing this for the last 6 years. So they know and can't say anything. So it's interesting.
That's
the
a
one.
tough pill to swallow.
Because if that would have happened in Michigan, Harbaugh would have been on the news like, with this guy he doesn't represent Michigan. This is not what we're about here. They would expose it.
Speaking of Harbaugh, there is some Jim Harbaugh news that has been floated about in NFL circles yesterday. I want to talk about that. Mike Sanders made some news yesterday, and Eric All making news today. We'll get to all of it next, but first, a message from Moneyball.
Check out Moneyball Sportswear. It's your one-stop shop. You go there, they have hoodies, they have jogging pants, they have jogging suits, they have T-shirts, socks. It's amazing. The apparel, it feels good. It's comfortable. They've taken over 10 years to get their product right, and it is just right. MoneyballSportswear.com, Desmond Ferguson, amazing. And also, if you want to do AAU uniforms, high school uniforms, or uniforms of clubs of any kind, they do that too. Go check out my boy Des at MoneyballSportswear.com.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff a Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff a Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Time to talk about Swiss Insurance. The holiday season is here. With Thanksgiving gone, that means Christmas is on the way. Swiss Insurance wants to remind you to insure those gifts and jewelry or collectibles. In the last 2 weeks, Swiss has saved its clients an average of 26% on their insurance premium while increasing their coverage. I don't know about you. That sounds like the deal for me. That's a lot of money freeing up for the given season. So let Swiss Insurance Group insure you.
WoodwardSports.com, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, and Tom Mazawey. We got Fletch and JB in the house as well. We'll get to the Lions coming up in just a little bit. I do want to talk about some personnel things happening with the Michigan Wolverines right now. First and foremost, story that came out yesterday with Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network saying that despite Jim Harbaugh, Braylon, saying that the door was closed on the NFL, there will be teams that make a run at him next season, and he will listen. On the Fiesta Bowl conference call yesterday, this report was referenced to him yesterday, and he said, while there are no guarantees in the future, I will be back to coach the Wolverines in 2023. So he essentially shut the door on that. I'll take him at his word. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that these teams aren't going to try, and God bless them. They should try. This guy is one of the great head coaches.
He's back.
In football, period. Pro, college, whatever.
If you look at what happened with Nick Saban, when Nick Saban left the Miami Dolphins and he came back to the NFL coaching, to the college coaching ranks at Alabama, he goes from Miami in 2007. I think he gets to Bama in 2008, and I think he wins his first national championship in 2010. His phone rang off the hook from 2010 to 2017, 2016. Like, until people just finally knew, until franchises knew, hey, he's definitely not coming here. Let's stop bothering him. We get it. He's Alabama now. He's done with the NFL, and now he's St. Nick. Now he's the Don. You'll see that same thing with Jim Harbaugh. One, because he's a damn good coach. Two, because they know he wanted to come back to the NFL, and that's why the flirtation was there this past offseason with the Minnesota Vikings. And three, they're watching what's going on. Like, he's the hot topic of coaching, period, whether you're talking about college or you're talking about the NFL. So expect his name to come up this year in the offseason. Expect his name to come up the following year in the offseason. But once people kind of really know, like, no, he's good. He's strictly Michigan, they'll start to go away. But expect it for at least another year and a half, 2 years.
No doubt. So, if there is more news, we'll talk about it. But I think the opinion as we sit here today is that Jim Harbaugh's not going anywhere. Yeah. And I think that was a different kind of mindset than where we sat a year ago.
It's smart for him.
I thought he was leaving last year. Now I will take him at his word and said the door is closed on the NFL, although no guarantees. But we'll see.
He left himself out, though. Like,
absolutely. You always got to leave yourself out.
He left himself a very professional courtesy. Right. He said, you know what, nothing is guaranteed, but I'm sticking here in Michigan, and which is the proper way to handle it. Because if something did come up, you can't get mad for Jim Harbaugh wanting to test those waters again, considering, he did get to the Super Bowl and lose to his brother. That's got to be tough around the holidays.
A couple of players' news in college football with the University of Michigan. Mike Sanderstill coming back for his 5th year next year. This is a really important guy to come back to. Mike Sanderstill is a player that really solidifies that back end. He's like the glue that keeps everything together. One of the, rare guys, too, that could play so many different positions, offense, defense, and they're going to need him next year, and so glad to see that he's back.
Glad that he's coming back. And the thing I like about this letter, one, it was a beautifully written letter. It's very small, so we can't read it necessarily through the screen. But if you guys at home can see it, and if not, go to his Twitter page where it's posted on his Twitter. The big thing about this one, he got it out the way early. He said, look, no need to wait through TCU, no need to wait through Ohio State, no need to figure out what I'm doing. He got it off his mind. Hey, look, I'm coming back. I love what Michigan football is doing right now. I love what I'm a part of. Hey, I'm coming back. Can't wait to 2023. But now, Job's not done this year. Let's go get the job done. He took all that worry, all that concentrating of is he going to stay, is he going to, out of his mind. It's a tough process, Brian. I remember going my junior year, going from that after we beat Ohio State, so that was November, let's just say 21, make up the day, November 21 all the way to the Rose Bowl, January 1. Am I leaving? Am I not leaving? Interviewing agents. I like this agent. I like this. Do I want to leave? Do I not want to leave? First round, it was a lot. Also, I got to think about playing USC. I got to think about traveling. I got to think about being on my game when the game starts January 1st. So to make this decision now, it just gets it out the way so now you can completely focus on the Horned Frogs.
The NIL has become the great equalizer, too. If you are on the fence, whether or not you're going to come back to school or whether you're going to turn pro. And I'm sure this young man is making a couple of bucks to return and stay.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely, and he should.
He's going to make some cheese, And the great thing about it, just look at what the difference makes when you get put in a situation where you could thrive. Michigan had some wide receivers, didn't necessarily use Mike Sanders still a lot. They had a bevy of wide receivers. They still currently do. It's tough for guys to get passes, especially when there's not a lot of them going on. He moves to the defensive side of the ball. You're like, oh, man, there he goes. He's going to be buried forever. And the guy got into that nickel slot. He got into that slot DB position, and he's played very, very good, man, especially the second half of the season.
He saved the bacon in that Ohio State game.
Biggest player in their season. By far, biggest player in their season. Another thing about him, Matt, he goes from a player that's not getting drafted, probably tries to make a team and doesn't, to now he's got a real good shot at getting drafted somewhere in the third round because of how good he is in that slot, man. You gotta love get somebody putting you in the right position.
I wanted to mention this too. Obviously, one of the bigger stories today in Ann Arbor is the fact that a captain, he hadn't played all year pretty much, but Eric All has decided to transfer.
Has that ever happened?
I can't believe it did.
Transferring?
But yeah, Eric All is transferring. Here's the tweet from him. Wolverine Nation, love you guys, but it's time for me to move on. I know some of you are wondering why I would leave, and the answer to that question is unexpected. Not everything, everyone are what they seem, and I learned that from my time here at Michigan. Sometimes you have to go. Sometimes you have to let go and do what's best for you and your family. Love you guys. Go Blue. That's Eric All, captain. I was a little surprised by this one.
I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I'm not shocked by anything anymore.
He just didn't hear his name throughout the year. I know he got hurt, and I don't know. Is he healthy and he got passed over? You got to start looking and saying maybe someone promised him something that they didn't come back and keep their word.
The way I look at it is this, I don't want to dive too deep into it until we fully know what it is. But man, you made a good point before the show started, and you look at it what it is. Who were captains this year? On offense, it's K. McNamara and Eric All. Who are best friends on the team? K. McNamara and Eric All. You look at these two guys; they're friends. Obviously, Eric's probably mad his boy is not the starting quarterback for whatever reason. He probably didn't feel that he lost the job the fair way. He figured he still should be a starter. He had injury. He got a surgery. He got a procedure. He had surgery. He's not playing this year. So you're like, they're boys. He'll probably end up at Iowa. Iowa's tight end U as well. You see Laporta is Big Ten tight end of the year. He's leaving this year, so he'll probably go down there. We'll wait and let things play out. As you said, Ryan, I want you to expound on that a little more. Now that Michigan is winning, now that Michigan is the number one brand in college football, and I know Georgia is the reigning defending, but Michigan is the number one brand in college football, you're going to start seeing a lot of this. Am I not correct?
You take the number one brand in college football and you put them year in, year out in the college football playoff,
people leave.
And you are going to attract a certain type of athlete. You are going to attract the most talented players in the country, whereas you are still getting those guys, but you're really going next level now. And I think you see one of the things that Jim Harbaugh said yesterday during the college football playoff committee show when he was interviewed was, we are competing every day. Our players are competing. Our players are competing to get on the field, to stay on the team. There's so much competition for these spots now. Colston Loveland,
where did he come from?
Went up and got a touchdown pass like Shannon Sharp would have.
Ryan, before we get to him, I got the perfect scenario for what you're talking about. Look at Ohio State. I got two names for you. Jameson Williams and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Both those guys were Ohio State. Both those guys entered the transfer portal. Both those guys win the first round, and both those guys are going to be game changers in the NFL.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what? Certain situations, they just don't fit anymore because there's too many guys at that position, and it's not your fault.
And I think
you know who else is going to be a number one pick?
Who?
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah.
He has declared for the NFL, will
There
not
you go.
play for the
Boom.
college football playoff. I was unable to come back on multiple occasions during the season, and the doctors determined I would be unable to participate in the playoffs. He is going pro. Thanks to JB for getting us over to be unnecessary
job,
about
JB.
this
Good stuff.
on Twitter. So Jackson Smith and Jigba will not play anymore for the Buckeyes.
Y'all
He
know
is
my
going to
saying.
the NFL.
You know my saying.
Nice call.
Play my theme music. I told you.
I told you, no doubt. But again, just we'll get to that. But just back to Michigan for a second, man. I thought Schoonmaker's going pro. He's out of there. I thought Eric All and Colston Loveland would be the guys next year. But maybe it's Colston Loveland and Max Bredesen now. Two younger guys. I mean, you're going to have this revolving door of player after player, and we are just at a time in college football where it doesn't matter if you're winning championships. It doesn't matter if you're competing for a national championship, for a conference championship. It doesn't matter if you're named a captain. You're going to go and do whatever it is that you feel is best for you and your family. Period. We're going to see some big names transfer from Michigan. Hell, you just saw two of them in Cade McNamara and Eric All. I'm sure there's going to be more.
The big thing that I want Michigan to do, I don't want Michigan to have players transfer because they're not getting players opportunities when they have. Like now, if guys are transferring because somebody else is balling and they can't get on the field, that's one thing. Hey, you know what? I wish you well the next place that you go. But these guys just are ahead of you. It's nothing that we can do about it. But if they're just not playing guys or they're not putting guys in situations, and the reason I say that, going into the season, they did the study and they talk about national college players, the biggest freaks, I believe, was the article that we talked about. Do you guys remember that? Before the season started? Mazawey Smith. And who else was on that list? It was Loveland. Loveland,
I didn't realize that.
He was a 6'5" Aussie soccer player that they talked about he played soccer, played rugby, and all those different type things. They talked about what type of athlete he was. We knew about that in August going into the season. However, we're not seeing it until December. We're not seeing it until, I think, 3 weeks ago, he had his first touchdown. So don't wait sometimes till it's too late. Like, that guy should have been making plays early on in the year, especially after we read that article on our show. Maz actually brought the article in.
Again, guys, you're going to be shocked by some of the names that you hear all throughout. Hell, look at Clemson. DJ Uiagalelei.
Yeah.
He's transferring. He's entered the portal.
Michigan State, go get him.
Seriously, I don't know why you wouldn't, but DJ Uiagalelei, he's out. Your boy from Boston College, Mass. Phil Jerkovich, or whatever his name is. The jerk. He's out of here.
Where do you think he's going?
He's going to Pitt.
Wow.
He transferred to Pitt. Keaton Slovis is out of Pitt. He entered the portal already.
He just got to Pitt.
He just got to Pitt.
He just got to Pitt.
Started all year. So he's entered. It is a total free-for-all in college football. And
that sucks. That sucks.
I don't particularly like it as a fan, but at the same time, I love it for the player. I love it and I hate it for the player because you do get an opportunity to go and do and showcase your talents. At the same time, I do think there is something to be said for sticking with it, fighting through, and coming out better on the other side. Like, is that could be an idealistic way to look at it, and a little part of reality. Because Braylon, we've talked about this before. If the portal was around when you were at Michigan, you probably may have heavily considered that.
Oh yeah, I definitely would have considered leaving, but you know who wouldn't have let me leave? Stan Edwards.
Right.
Stan Edwards would be like, I don't care what you think.
But not everybody has as strong a parents as you do.
They don't have the lineage and the legacy.
Right.
You're 100% right, but I would have definitely thought about it. It's a definitely good thought to have. It's a great ability to have. But the thing about it, man, you know what the hell with it? I think college teams have held players back for so long. I think I've seen people go to other schools and they were supposed to go. I saw a situation with Mike Chappelle. Mike Chappelle's a basketball player out of Southfield Lathrop. Amazing player. He was going to Michigan State. Nick Saban was all in. This was going to be Nick Saban's, like, one of his first major recruits, one of his first top guys. He decides to go to Duke, but then he decides to come back to Michigan State. And Saban, not Saban, but your boy Tom Izzo let him come back, only to punish him and never play him. I think a lot of that has happened in college football, college basketball, college sports forever. So the fact that players have a little power now, you know what? I'm not saying anything. I take it.
Guys, before we get on to the Lions, just a quick preview of the college football playoff. Give me what you think is going to happen as we sit here today, one day removed from the college football playoff selection show. What's going to happen in those 2 games, in those 3 games? I want you to give it to me next. But first, a message from SMA.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health as well as substance abuse. Their podcast, this is S-Word, and S-Word stands for stigma because they're trying to destigmatize mental health as well as substance abuse. They go hand in hand, too. You know, when the mental's not right, then it leads you down other paths. And that's why Sean Jordan and SMA is providing this information. Go to thesportsma.com. They have a great platform for conversations, information. That's all we really need. When you're not okay, that's fine. But having that information is what's going to help you get through. Go to thesportsma.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Woodward Sports loves lobster. I know you guys do as well.
The lobster
better
bisque.
way to get your fix other than Cousins Maine Lobster. How about them? With 2 trucks rolling around Detroit, you can be sure to find the best lobster rolls, lobster tots, and lobster tacos to power you through the day. I had the lobster grilled cheese. I had the soup, the lobster bisque. Outstanding, guys. Go to cousinsmainelobster.com and find out that truck schedule right now.
.com. Guys, we're going to have about a month to talk about these games. But just, you know, the day after, initial impression, before you even get a half a second to think about it, is I want to walk through these 3 games. Okay. You can either leave the music on there, JB, a little ambiance here. Michigan, TCU. Michigan, a 9-point favorite against TCU. Braylon, walk me through how you think this one's going to go.
Michigan throws the ball early, try to establish that early, and they know they can run the ball. They're going to try to establish the run early. Also, Michigan's more physical. You look at Michigan. Michigan's the most physical team in the country. I think their goal would be to try to beat up on the Big 12. You look at what they've done. They lost to Baylor. They should have lost to Texas Tech. They almost lost to Kansas State. They played to we lost Kansas State, almost lost to Baylor. They played Texas, and it's tied at halftime to a terrible team. I think Michigan will try to out-physical them and kind of use a little bit what you saw with J.J. McCarthy. He was getting out of the pocket, making some throws. He did throw some wild ones in there, but I think getting out of the pocket, but run him a little bit more. I think they'll be more physical. First half, Michigan does the same thing every first half, no matter who they play, and Max Duggan is a guy that can make some plays. So look for maybe a 21-17, 21-13 type of a first half, and then Michigan start to open up in the second like they've been doing all year.
I like what I see in TCU. I really believe that I see a good team there. Now, K-State, their offense They just didn't have a great offense. If they did, TCU might have had a harder time. This team don't quit. They play right to the end of the game. They don't get nervous. They love coming back at the end. Look how they beat Baylor. Look how they come back against K-State. Should have won that damn game. Michigan is too big for them.
Yeah.
They're gonna wear them down. By the end of the second half, they should win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, what do you think I'm going to say, guys? Right? I mean,
but I'm telling you, that kid, that quarterback, Max Duggan, he's the real deal.
No,
I agree. Me and JB had a chance to talk about him a couple times this year off the show for some other things, and he's a guy that throws not that many interceptions. He can run the ball with his feet. He has a good arm. He gets out of pocket, and one thing he does well, which JJ is trying to learn how to do, when he gets out of pocket, Ryan Ermanni, he makes good throws. He makes accurate throws outside the pocket, much like a Russell Wilson, if you will, when Russell was in Seattle.
I think Michigan is going to stay close in the first half and then run away with this game in the second half. And I say that because TCU cannot defend against the run. They are one of the worst teams in college football at defending the run.
All Big 12 teams.
Duke is a better team. Kentucky, Toledo defends the run at a better clip than TCU. So I do anticipate Michigan to throttle TCU close in the first half. I anticipate it being a second half destruction like we've seen all throughout. So Michigan moves on. Second game, Ohio State and Georgia. Georgia only a 6.5-point favorite in this one. A little struck by that because I think Michigan exposed Ohio State for what they were at home in Columbus. I was a little shocked to see this spread less than a touchdown.
2 answers on that. One, what do I think will happen just based off what I've seen? All right, well, Georgia's a better team. They're more physical. They're a much better team. The 2 most physical teams in the country are Michigan and Georgia. You look at what Georgia can do with Brock Bowers, their tight ends. They have 2 premium tight ends in the NFL. In the collegiate level. In fact, Brock Bowers is arguably the best player in college football when you look at what he can do. And Stetson Bennett, the 4th reigning defending champ from last year, he's got more and more confidence.
It's like 28 years old, too.
Yeah, he's the oldest winning SEC quarterback ever at 25. They're a much better team than Ohio State, so just looking at paper, I would take Georgia to dominate. But I don't know, man. Like, it's one of those weird feelings. I'm thinking in the psyche. Like, Ohio State backs in after the Michigan performance. Everybody's talking about firing Ryan Day. Jackson Smith and Jigba's entering the draft. I think Ohio State's going to beat Georgia. I think you're looking at a rematch.
Really?
I think you're looking at a rematch. That's just a gut feeling.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at a rematch in the national championship. I mean, we've never had a situation like this happen, at least not for the Big Ten.
I second that. I like Ohio State to win that game. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Exactly.
I just think they're going to do it. Georgia's a tremendous team. The speed is, obviously, you could see it. It's night and day versus what the Big Ten has to offer. There's just something about it that I really believe that Ohio State team, what Michigan did to them, I think they pick up their teeth and they save their season and they beat Georgia.
Here's another big thing, and we talked about the Heisman. So this is one of my thoughts for that conversation, Maz, is C.J. Stroud's going to win the Heisman. And the reason why I say C.J. Stroud
over Caleb Williams?
Caleb Williams just got beaten Utah, and he looked horrible.
Yeah, he was hurt, man.
You said what?
Really badly hurt.
I saw it. But
played on one leg.
Even before he really got injured, he looked bad. He just could not get it going. They lost to Utah. It's the second time they've lost to Utah this year.
Utah owns them.
100%, man, 100%. I think when you look at C.J. Stroud was there last year. He finished 3rd. C.J. Stroud was the favorite going into the Michigan game. Even in the Michigan game, he still had over 300 and 2 touchdowns. I think you look at it, he wins the Heisman. I think, and because of that, I think it gives him the little moxie, gives him a little something extra. I think that might be it. They win that Heisman, I think it gives him a little something extra going into that game against Georgia.
First of all, I think Georgia is absolutely going to destroy him. That's my first.
That's always your answer to every game.
Somebody's
getting destroyed.
Yeah, I think Georgia is going to just totally run Ohio State off the field.
You're never not wrong, though. Like, you're usually right.
Second thing, or as Braylon says, thing 2.
Is that what I say?
Oh, yeah, it is. You say it all the time when you say 2 things. Thing 2. I want Ohio State so bad.
I do too.
My mindset about the series has completely changed. I want the Buckeyes. I want to take their soul.
Yeah.
I want to rip their heart out. I want to continue to stomp on it. I want to just put my foot on their throat.
Yeah.
And I want to let them know who their daddy is once again.
I love it. I
want Ohio State
That's
so
what I
bad.
want.
I know a lot of Michigan fans who were so pissed off, for lack of a better way to say it, that Ohio State got in.
Not me.
I am so glad they got in, and I am praying for a rematch.
100%. I want them so bad. Like, it's to the point where they destroyed Michigan for the better part of the last 20 years.
Made fun of them.
Made fun of them. They put up 61 year.
We're going to lay 100 on them. Remember? We're going to lay
100 on them the following year. They put Michigan in such a bad place. Like, in fact, they lost me so much money. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Like, they destroyed Michigan. And now Michigan is back. Now Michigan has a chance to destroy them. Do you know that what that would do to Ohio State's program if Michigan beat them twice in one season? If they buried them in the national championship, bury Ryan Day, Mr. Born on third, Mr. Fraudulent, buried that program, it will feel amazing. The only one thing that I would have to push back on is I don't want any stone left unturned. And if Ohio State is able to beat Georgia, and then we beat Ohio State, you're going to have the Heather Dinniches of the world. You're going to have the Paul Feinbaums. You're going to have the idiots that do this thing called analyzing sports. Talk about, well, they didn't play Georgia. Well, they called a lucky break because Georgia didn't escape.
Alabama wasn't in it.
Alabama wasn't in it. There was no Clemson like with Sean Watson.
They got to play TCU.
Exactly. They didn't play Georgia and Kirby Smart and Stetson Bennett and Jalen Carter, who's the number one defensive player right now on most big boards next to Will Anderson. I want them for that reason, but outside of that alone, give me your State again, like J.J. McCarthy said.
Do you think if Georgia does do what I think they're going to do to them, and that's just totally pound them, do you think that Ryan Day, who's lost 3 games in 2 years,
40 and 5,
5 games in 4 years, do you think he's in trouble if they get blown out by Michigan 2 years in a row and blown out by Georgia on a national stage?
Brian Hartline is supposedly leaving to go to Cincinnati. Maybe they want to keep
He did not
Brian.
get that job. That's not how he got. Cincinnati hired a coach today.
That's right.
They hired Louisville's coach today.
So Hartline is staying then. Maybe Hartline gets that gig then.
I don't think anything will change for what the people think about Ryan Day down there at Ohio State with a loss to Georgia versus where they feel now just off the loss to U of M. And that's because no Travion Henderson, no Jackson Smith and Jigby. They can make a couple of excuses. But in terms of when he's getting fired, once they lose next year in November, Ryan Day will be looking for a job. And he won't have to look long because of what he did in his 4 years at Ohio State. He won't have to look long, but he'll be in that job line waiting.
And again, one of the things is I just think Jim Harbaugh is a better coach. I think sometimes when it comes down to a coaching matchup and Jim Harbaugh's confidence now against Ryan Day, it's almost like he laughs at him. Oh, man, I mean,
This guy.
I own this guy. I know exactly what he's going to do before he's going to do it, and I know how to out-coach that guy. I think our players are tougher than that guy. So it's definitely going to be a fun couple of weeks to talk about, guys. I absolutely am so excited about. Are you going to SoFi?
So as of right now, I'm already booked for Tempe. For Phoenix. So I'm going to the Fiesta Bowl for sure, and I'm coming back, and I'll figure. I don't think I can not go to SoFi. Like that's almost like, wait, what? It was your team was in the national championship at SoFi, and you didn't go. Like that's killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
I was looking yesterday at tickets and flights,
It's pretty.
I just don't. It's about $5,000 to do it.
You remember we looked back months ago?
It's about $5,000 to do it. I just don't know if
we looked at tickets for the championship game months ago, and the cheapest ticket was $700 back then.
Yeah.
Now you know the teams.
I saw $2,000.
I
saw $2,000.
Yeah.
And no offense, like for me, you can call me whatever I want. I'm not going to the game to sit up as high as I can just to be in the stadium.
Well, you wouldn't have to sit up there.
Well,
I got you covered on that end.
I'd rather watch the game in my house than go sit up in them nosebleeds. You know what I mean?
I get tickets. The tickets won't be a problem. I'd still get tickets through alumni and also being a donor. So the tickets wouldn't be an issue. The big thing for me is
we'll do the show from there.
In that case, I'm not paying to go. No, but the big thing is who plays. Because I think it's one of those things with Ryan and Matt, for being honest. I think if you're looking at Michigan and Georgia, and I'm obviously going to the Fiesta Bowl, I can say, you know what, let's just have a huge, watch party at the house. So let's figure out something. Let's do something where everybody can be a part of it. if it's Georgia and Michigan. If it's Ohio State and Michigan,
got to be there.
I'm there. I don't care what it is. Ohio State and Michigan, because you're not looking at that again. Well, now with the 12-team playoff,
with the 12-team, you might see it. Right.
But it's there. It's at SoFi. Like, you're talking about, there's no way I would miss that.
Oh, man. I almost would have to be there.
You know
what I mean? I just definitely.
Hey, Nicole, he's going. Just let you know that now.
Right.
Hey, Nicole, he's going.
I was looking at flights, man. We'll see December 31st if, in fact, you need to book a flight.
What do you work 2 jobs for? Let's go.
All right.
Ooh, all right.
Get him, man.
Let him know.
Let him know. Let's get on him, man.
Let him know. Let's go. All right, guys. We have waited long enough to talk about one of the hottest football teams in the National Football League. In the NFL, the Detroit Lions, one of the most complete wins we've seen in a long time. Should have been 5 straight. Should have been 7 out of 8.
Hey, don't start that.
We'll talk about it. Detroit Lions straight ahead, but first about from the Foaling Warehouse.
Lions, Hamtramck. Let's go. Foaling, football and bowling. 2 great games put together. How do you play Foaling and Hamtramck? It's easy. $12 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation for 2 hours. You get it. 10 or 12 people on a lane. It runs you $120. A great beer menu. Over 100 beers they offer. Of course, multiple full bars, any drink you want. And the $2 mystery beer machine. Bring your own food in or even have it delivered. Get your Foal on. Check them out at FoalingWarehouse.com.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab 1 extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries, what will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
What's going on, everybody?
Hi. What's going on, JB?
What's going on, Ryan? I'm here to tell you about Planet Fitness and how they are our official studio sponsors here at Woodward Sports, but also they're home to your judgment-free zone where you can work out in a judgment-free, non-intimidating atmosphere for just $10 a month. $10 a month, you guys.
Only $10?
Yeah, $10 a month. Or you can always do yourself a favor and upgrade to the Black Card with unlimited guest privileges, that hydro massage, and so much more. Join any club today, or you can always check them out at planetfitness.com.
Guys, hour number 2 of the program, and it is time now to talk.
Down the field.
Seriously, man. No, I mean, seriously. How great was yesterday?
Yeah, was
one of the most stress-free Sundays that you could possibly have watching the Detroit Lions. An absolute beatdown, 40-14 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. From the second play of the game, you knew it was going to be a good day.
Yeah, you did. So I have a confession to make. Yesterday, I flew back from Indianapolis. My flight was at 6 a.m. I actually was on a flight with every local media person in Detroit, period. Everyone was on that same flight. Flight was at 6. I landed, got to the house at like 8:15, man. I had a bagel, and I knocked out. Woke up at 5:36, and I immediately look at my phone to see, okay, the scores, what happened in the game. 40-14. I was like, oh, I got to turn this on. So I recorded it. I was just watching, man. I just you saw from the second play of the game, you saw the fumble, and you knew it was going to be different with this Detroit Lions team and playing against the Jaguars. I mean, guaranteed, they made some plays. Travis Lawrence hit Christian Kirk earlier. They looked like they had a thing going on. In fact, it almost was like Kirk versus Chark and Badgley versus Riley.
Yeah.
It's almost like the battle of the former teams.
That's it.
But they did everything well, and even at the end, I mean, it's the first time they didn't punt one time since 1991 or something like that.
2017.
2017.
But 1970 at home.
There it is.
Was the last time they had gone 8 for 8. I mean, 8 drives. The only time they did not score a touchdown was when they were in victory formation, or score points, I should say, was when they were in victory formation. And I know there's going to be it was Jacksonville just got done beating the Ravens a week earlier.
Yep.
Jacksonville's playing pretty darn good football.
Oh, by the way, it's the NFL.
Yeah.
It's the NFL. Like, it's an NFL game. Jaguars, like you said, were playing good under Coach Peterson. Lions just got it, man. They figured it out on both sides of the ball this particular game, and that's why I said I was going to have to apologize because I didn't give them a second chance when picking the Jacksonville Jaguars on Friday, and they went out there and they handled business, special teams, they handled business on defense, handled business in offense, and then they handled business second half and the fourth quarter. That's where the Lions have struggled in that fourth quarter, and that's when they say, hey, Ryan, you guys can have the game back. That's what the Lions are known for, but not this time around. They continue to put the pedal to the metal.
If it wasn't for a 33-point fourth quarter out of the Dallas Cowboys yesterday, this would have been the largest margin of victory in the entire week of games. This football team is playing really good. Probably should have beaten the Bills. Should be 5 in a row, but we'll say what it is. It is 4 wins in their last 5 games. They are getting healthy right now, too, and their head coach is figuring it out a little bit, figuring out when to go for it on fourth down, when not to go for it on fourth down, when to take 3 points. He's done a really nice job of that in the last couple of weeks. DeAndre Swift looked like the guy that you wanted him to be yesterday. Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, Josh Reynolds. This is what it's supposed to look like. And defensively, you've got to give Aaron Glenn a ton of credit. And I don't know if it was in direct correlation to the firing of Aubrey Pleasant, but something about Aubrey Pleasant. I feel bad, man. I feel like he got scapegoated, but it is what it is. This defense has only allowed, since Aubrey Pleasant was fired, only allowed over 30 points one time.
They went from 32nd to 19th in defense prior to yesterday's game since that move was made. Yeah. So something happened. Something clicked, and it shows. And to see your young players play so well is what really gets you going. How about James Houston?
Who is this guy?
2 sacks.
3.
He's only second. He's got 3 sacks in 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He's only second, rookies. He's second behind Aidan Hutchinson for sacks. 1-2 punch. That's not even Josh Paschal yet. It's James Houston. Nice job, Brad Holmes.
And that's it. And that's what you talk about. You talk about what's changed. It's the young guys. The young guys are stepping up. The young guys are getting comfortable. You know, it takes young guys a second. The NFL, that's one thing people always ask me about. It's like, what's the difference between college and NFL? Is it the speed? Are guys just faster? Are they stronger? No, guys are faster. Usually guys are technically faster coming out of college. They're stronger coming out of college. It's when you get in the NFL and you learn the game. It takes guys a second to understand, what are the coaches asking me in this specific defensive scheme? What are guys asking for me in this offensive scheme? What's my role? What's my job? What do they want me to learn? So guys are learning it. You start to see it unfold, and you start to see guys having some confidence with that knowledge and play within that knowledge. And that's why you see a guy like Aidan, another sack. You see Houston making a sack. Like you said, 3 in the last 2 games. Kirby Joseph in the right place. And I think that's another big thing that you're seeing with the Lions, Ryan. People are where they're supposed to be. That's always a big thing when you lose, when you're young. Guys out of position on wide receivers when they're DBs. Guys jumping off sides. Guys picking up flags. You saw Amon-Ra with the 6 penalties in the one game. Like, it's penalties. It's being out of play. It's undisciplined. Now, they're not getting so many flags. They're where they're supposed to be. And Jared Goff, man, you got to give him the credit. As much as we take credit away from him, he puts the ball where it needs to be when everybody's there. And I mean, once again, that's a conversation. Game. That's a conversation to have.
What's that?
Might
in
be
your
a hot
hand?
take. This is.
What's that in your hand?
It's the hot. This is the hot take horn, man.
What is it? You got one? Uh oh. What's he got? Maz? Braylon?
Jared Goff might be your quarterback. I think Jared Goff's your quarterback.
Might be.
I think Jared Goff's your quarterback. Now, I'm not telling you not to draft a quarterback in the 3rd round this year. I'm not telling you not to see how this year plays out. But I wouldn't take quarterback in the 1st or 2nd. I think Jared Goff could be your guy. We've seen it twice this year in stretches when things were right. When you had your offensive linemen, when you had your wide receivers, when you had your tight ends, when you had your running backs, both there at the same time, when you've had defense playing decent, you've seen what it looks with Jared Goff when he's confident in that. And the other thing is, I didn't think about this, is Ben Johnson, this is his first year really putting together an offense, right, Ryan Armani? He had all off season, and he's had this season of games to put his identity together. It takes an OC a second to become who he is. Andy Reid didn't become Andy Reid in one season. Andy Reid didn't become an offensive guru in 2 seasons or 3 seasons with the Eagles. It took him a while to get his identity going. I think you're starting to see his identity coming to fruition. And it's with Jared Goff, which means Jared Goff understands Ben Johnson. I think that's something that you don't want to go away from, especially next year when you get more draft picks, more wins, and more sense of understanding for this Detroit Lions team under Dan Campbell. Jared Goff, Ben Johnson have a thing working right now.
Did you see Goff run after Ben Johnson at the end of the game and hug him, bear hug him? I think he is saving Jared Goff's career. And
I would agree.
I hope that Jared Goff could become the quarterback he was when he was drafted number 1 out of Cal. I hope that could be happening. He looked great yesterday. Let's go. Let's see another game. This is before Jameson Williams even gets unleashed. He got a couple of plays yesterday just to get the rust off. You're going to start to see more with him. I thought your hot take was going to be the Lions aren't going to lose anymore. Because I'll tell you, the way here we go. Here it is.
I said they could win. I said they could.
I know one thing. I don't want to play against them if I'm another team right now.
Nah.
I don't.
There it is.
The Detroit Lions are not going to lose again in the regular season of 2022. They're going to win the rest of their games and finish with those 10 wins that I told you about back in
August,
January, February, March, and April. I told all year long, I've been telling you, the Lions are going to finish with 10 until they started 1-6. Then I jumped off.
Until you should have
stuck with August.
Listen, if the Lions win 10 games,
it'd be your best hot take ever.
Aidan Hutchinson at the Heisman was pretty damn good last year.
The Lions coming off those 3 wins, and you predicted them to go 10 wins.
The Lions are going to win 10 games this year. They're not losing again. We could talk about it next, but first, a message. Is that a reality? Can they win? Save it for me. But first, a message from Les Stanford. Head on over to Michigan Avenue in the great city of Dearborn. You want cars? You hear about those shortages? They've got them for you. You can drive off today in a brand new Chevrolet or a brand new Cadillac. Great deals on Cadillacs. Great deals on Chevys. Check them out over there, LesStanford.com. They've got over 300 pre-owned cars on their lot right now. All makes, all models, all years. Some with less than 500 miles on them, so they're like new. Head on down today, practically giving them away at Les Stanford Chevrolet and Cadillac. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com.
Find new road.
Find them.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
at work and at home. We're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. Baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment's got everything you need to get the job done. Ryan, where the hell are you? At Alta, uptime matters. Okay, thank you.
Alta.
I have a big project coming up. Alta Rentals got you covered. Call them today at 844. Go to Alta. That's 844. Go to Alta.
Uptime, it matters.
Alta.
Great stuff.
I had to wake you up.
Okay, so I'm fascinated by this. I was opened up my phone during the commercial break, all 30 seconds of it, and the first tweet I see is this TJ Holmes and Amy Roebuck, or whatever her name is.
Good Moaning?
The Good Moan in America. They are being taken off the air. They were taken off the air.
Take them off.
And I was just reading
They're off the air?
Yeah, they've taken them off the air because it's been too much of a distraction for everybody, apparently. But at the same time,
they still get paid though.
Oh yeah. At the same time, it says GMA, their ratings are soaring because of this.
Of course.
So
you want to see the chemistry,
right? That's what I saw. That's what I was reading. So I apologize for not with the uptime. It matters.
It matters.
I do want to say this.
Uptime matters for them too.
Guys, legit. The Detroit Lions. You look at the rest of their games, and they are in the hunt. In December, they're in the hunt, 5-7.
Before you start did the Giants and the Washington deal, did that spoil that at all?
Yes.
Okay.
It did. That Giant, and we can talk about the NFL too. The Giants-Washington tie was perhaps the absolute worst possible outcome that could have happened to the Detroit Lions. That tie basically dropped a bomb on their playoff chances.
The Redskins could have been 7-6. Instead of 7-5-1, the Commanders.
And the Giants could have had a fifth loss. The Giants could have had a fifth loss. So either way you cut it, one of those teams could have had an extra loss, and that could, even if the Lions win the rest of their games and go 10-7, they may not make it. They may not make it at 10-7.
Yeah.
And that would be a real shame. Because I think in this NFC, especially with Jimmy Garoppolo out now, I don't think is Dallas the favorite? I mean, I was watching all these national programs today saying that Dallas has a clear shot to the Super Bowl now, and I'm thinking, hello? Anybody see what they're doing in Philadelphia right now? Besides just mowing teams down?
Jalen Hurts played amazing yesterday.
But that notwithstanding, they did and again, I'm not saying Super Bowl,
right?
But what I'm trying to tell you is, if you get in the playoffs, there's no team that you would consider an automatic loss.
Yeah,
there's no Buffalo Bills out there like before the way you thought about the Lions schedule before the season started. Right. There's no team out there that they can't beat. I would think going to San Francisco would be an automatic loss, but not now without Jimmy G.
Wait till Baker gets there.
But nonetheless, guys, how do you just big picture? Last 5 games of the season, where is this team right now moving forward?
I like what the Detroit Lions are. You talk about it. How they looked against, and obviously they lost against Buffalo Bills, but how they looked in that game, this past game, how they played a complete game, even more complete than that Commanders game that they played when they beat the Washington Commanders, game 2 of the season. They're doing it on offense. They're doing it on defense. Jared Goff is completing passes down the field. They're making some big plays. I know that was another thing for the Detroit Lions last year, just getting some big plays. Like, they're getting big plays every game. They're getting the 30-yard plays down the game, 3 times a game, 4 times a game. They got DJ Chark now. DJ Chark looked good. He looked like the guy that made the Pro Bowl 2 years ago with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Amon-Ra Brown continues to show you that he's one of the best hidden draft picks the Detroit Lions have ever made. You look at Jared Goff, you look at Aidan Hutchinson, now starting to really find his footing as a defensive end in this NFL, as a number 2 pick overall, really finding his footing. They can match up with anybody coming down the stretch. They can beat anybody coming down the stretch, so it's going to be interesting. But you ask about the Dallas Cowboys and why are they the clear-cut favorite. You know, you watched that game yesterday against the Colts. They were, 19-21 going to the the fourth quarter. There wasn't anything special. They gave Dallas a lot of those interceptions and fumbles and things of that nature. Poor tackling, not finished tackling plays, if you will, in the case of CeeDee Lamb's touchdown. So, yeah, they're not a clear-cut favorite at all, and they can be beat too. I mean, obviously, because the Detroit Lions had a chance to beat the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas early on this year. So, you know, coming down with the Detroit Lions, they have a chance to beat every team. And you look at that NFC outside of the Eagles, and the only thing about the Eagles, because they're beatable too, because I saw an Eagles team barely beat the Colts a couple of weeks ago, if you want to be honest. They beat the Colts 16-17. So the interesting thing is the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles. Dak Prescott wasn't the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Last time they played the Eagles, it was Cooper Rush. And Cooper Rush still played.
You're right.
Yeah, and Cooper still played the Eagles very close until the end. So very interesting NFC, but it's been interesting all year long.
Dak's first game back was against the Lions. That was a 10-6 game. Lions on the 1-yard line. Couldn't get the job done. 10-6 they had Cowboys in the fourth freaking quarter. Last night they scored 33
at the 1-yard
points.
line.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter they scored 33 last night. Colts should not be on national TV, first of all. Speaking of that, in a couple of weeks, week 15, the Giants and Washington have been flexed to Sunday Night Football. So the Patriots take a back seat. I forgot who they were playing. It doesn't matter. They're off.
Does Seattle have a shot, Ryan or Mine?
Seattle's getting in.
No, do they have a shot to win?
Absolutely. They play defense and they can run the ball.
Geno Smith.
Absolutely.
Kenneth Walker injured?
Did he get injured yesterday?
Kenneth Walker's injured. Kenneth Walker got injured. He didn't play. He did not finish the game.
That might help the Lions then.
There you go.
Because I look, this San Francisco situation really hurts the Lions, I think, because San Francisco plays Washington and Seattle. And I was counting, you know, when you look at the schedules, and we could do this tomorrow, when you look at Washington's schedule and Seattle's schedule, you really look at that SF next to that, and you say loss.
Yeah.
And now I'm not so sure, right? Now it's not certainly an automatic. San Francisco has only allowed more than 20 points in a game one time all year, and we're in like week 13.
The crucial thing about
look at the Broncos.
Oh man, so terrible.
Crucial you gave up 10 points and lost.
That defense has been playing lights out all year.
Yeah.
When they go back, when the defense goes back in the offseason, and I take that back, when the offense goes back in the offseason and they really look at how well their defense played, they're going to be ashamed of themselves.
They are.
Russell Wilson, Nathaniel Hackett, those guys are going to be absolutely ashamed at how they play, because it's really on those two. And Melvin Gordon fumbled a lot early on, but it's really on those two looking back at it. But you talk about, I was thinking about the 49ers. Let's get back onto the Detroit Lions. My apologies. What they're doing right now, they're playing tough at the right time. It's in December. A lot of the teams that they'll be playing right now aren't going to the playoffs. So a lot of the teams that they're playing start to have that kind of like, season might be over with. We're done. We have nothing to play for. Let's worry about getting to the offseason, staying healthy. That's what happens a lot of times, Ryan. We start playing these teams that the Lions will be playing against, the Packers, the Bears, the Carolina Panthers. Now they're not playing for the playoffs. Guys are just trying to stay healthy so that when the season's over, they can go to their destination spot, so they can go to their off-season home, so they can go on their vacations and not have to worry about staying getting treatment. So the Lions are going to have a real chance to win these games and see how things shake up, because they're humping at the right time. Talking about Detroit Lions.
No doubt about it. Dan Campbell talked about that. You'll hear from him next. And get your thoughts on Jameson Williams, what the Lions' plan for him was yesterday. We'll talk about it all. But first, a message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Get to Lady Jane's. Several locations throughout the Metro Detroit area, several more around the country. Look for one near you. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff a Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward in Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff a Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, what's going on, JB?
Downtown Detroit is all decked out this holiday season with the return of the Cadillac Lodge and the Monroe Street Midway. The Midway's got the giant slide, the winter bumper cars, and of course they got that indoor arcade. You can always grab a drink at the Lodge before or after any home game.
Before or after?
Or after. Wings, Lions, whatever you got. The Pistons as well, too. Shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long with Decked Out Detroit. And remember, you can check them out at deckedoutdetroit.com.
.com.
It's the same group of guys that we've talked about. And it's the same group that, you know, when things didn't look so good, they put in the same amount of work, and they've just gone in and they have not lost faith, and they're unbroken, they're unshaken, and they go to work, man. It's a group of guys that just goes to work, and they believe in the game plan, and they've got a lot of confidence right now. You know, they trust the guy next to them, and we're clicking right now. We're clicking at the right time.
Ermanni and Edwards bringing you with Maz on a beautiful Monday after Michigan wins the Big Ten Championship, and Detroit Lions get another win, and a huge win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You just hear Dan Campbell talk about it, clicking at the right time. Ryan, one of the things in the NFL that you see a lot of times when you get bad teams or teams that have bad records, what they tend to do is you bring in the high-priced free agents, try to bring those guys in, and you try to get good fast. Like, you try to hurry up and turn the culture around, try to hurry up and turn the franchise around, and it doesn't work like that. And then what happens at the end of the season, those guys are just trying to get in and out. They're coming for a cash grab, if you will. And then after that, they're trying to stay healthy in December. They're trying to stay, next man up, next situation, if you will. So those situations don't work. But having young guys, they don't have the ability to do the cash grab and say next situation. They fight. They're trying to learn the identity of what Dan Campbell's wanted starting last year. You saw how hard those guys played through everything that happened last year. You saw even when they got whooped against Cincinnati, they got whooped against Philly. They got to December and they tried to play harder. They got some wins in December. They played hard. They came back in the offseason, Ryan. They came back early. This is Detroit we're talking about. It's cold. It's still snowing in March. Those guys came back. They got after it in Allen Park. They lost early on in the year. They went 1-6, and everybody's talking about, fire Dan Campbell, get rid of Jared Goff. I myself was one of those guys.
Including us, yeah.
Exactly. Fire this guy, get rid of this guy. This doesn't work. He sucks. He stinks. Those guys heard all of that, and they stayed the course. They stayed listening to Dan Campbell. They stay, as he's saying, they stayed showing up to work. Jared Goff said, you know what, I'll figure it out. Amon-Ra St. Brown, no, we're going to keep fighting. DeAndre Swift, you know what, when I get healthy, we were even trying to get rid of DeAndre Swift. He's always hurt. What happens is those guys, young guys, have been staying together, fighting for one another, and now you're starting to see it pay off. And now it's December again, and these guys this time in December are fighting for a potential chance at the playoffs. They really are building something special here, and I can be the first to admit I was wrong. I see it fully what Maz saw 4 weeks ago, even though as they were losing, Maz saw it. So it's interesting. It's good to see. Want to see how it finishes.
We're doing a lot of apologizing today because I think that Dan Campbell deserves a little bit of an apology as well. He has made some mistakes, sure, and there is something that leaves me wanting more for this season. Yeah. If the Lions miss out on the playoffs by a game or two, you go back to the decisions in the Minnesota game or in the Buffalo game, and you say, how in the world, like the time management in the Buffalo game, the kicking the field goal on 4th and 4 in the Minnesota game, those two decisions alone could have cost you a playoff berth. But that being said, that being cast aside for a minute, at 1-6, this football team could have gone a different way, and they chose not to. Yeah. After last week, when they clearly could have beaten the Buffalo Bills at home and had to let that stew for 10 days, they clearly could have gone a different way. But they came out with a vengeance. Lions teams of the past, may have won that game yesterday, but they wouldn't have won it like that. Lions teams of the past would have probably laid down, looked at their record, 4-7. Oh, give me the last 5 weeks of the season, we're good. That's a testament to Dan Campbell and his coaching staff. Same thing for Jim Harbaugh. Those guys play for Harbaugh. These guys play for Dan Campbell.
I wanted to say this, and I want to throw it to Maz when I say this, is don't make many mistakes about it. I'm not apologizing for what I said about the Detroit Lions because they were 1-6 after being 3-13-1. Yes, they were still making some bonehead decisions in game. Yes, they were fumbling at the wrong times. They were being undisciplined at the wrong times. So the things that I was saying early on, I don't apologize for those at all. What I apologize for is not believing strongly enough in what Dan Campbell was building there in terms of my identity, in terms of who those players are, in terms of what those players believe in terms of those guys playing for themselves and continuing to work week in and week out to get better, to ensure that they become the team that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes has envisioned them to be. I apologize for taking that for granted and saying, it's nothing there. It's the same old Lions. I apologize for that, not what I actually said early on in the year, because it was true.
Hey, 1-6 is not good. You can be as good as you want and getting better and all that stuff, but at some point you got to start winning some games. And the Lions have started to win games. Yeah. And the more information you have about look, if you're going to be so bullheaded and not change your mind with the information that you have, then you know what? You're stuck in mud. I just think that the more information you have about something, the better informed your decision could be about it. And I think you look at this football team, this organization, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and you say, yes, this thing is definitely heading in the right direction, not only in years to come, but this year. Maz, they got a shot at this playoff thing.
Well, they definitely have a shot to win 9 to 10 games. They do. 10, obviously, if they win them all. That's going to be hard to say. But
even if they win 9, are you?
He's up for Coach of the Year if they win 9.
Here's a question for you, Matt.
With Dable and Salah.
Here's a question for you. What is success this year for the Detroit Lions? Like, what is records define success.
8-9.
So you are 8-9. What is 8-9 successful for you?
I'm happy already.
You're happy now?
Yep.
5-7. You're pretty happy.
I'm happy.
Okay.
Because I know they had other games in their grasp, and like I told you,
You did.
I see what I see going forward.
No,
I like where they're going. I know things you have to win. I get that, and I could see they're going to. Dan Campbell has to clean up his resume. Next year, he can't make those mistakes anymore. I told you that before. If he gets better, this team will get better. Jared Goff, you go as far as he can take you. All right? That's what it is. If he's going to throw an interception, a pick six, he's going to fumble, that's what you got to live with.
I understand what you're saying, and I definitely can see what you're saying in terms of you're already good with the season. I understand that. Ryan and Monty, I agree with you, though. 8 wins is a successful season for me.
I completely disagree with you, Tom Mazawey.
That's fine.
Because if you're telling me you're happy if this football team, playing as good as they are, would regress and lose 5 in a row, including...
I didn't say that.
No, but you said you're... Well, what did you say? Because I heard you say,
I'm happy
already no matter what.
Yeah, because I see, I'm talking if the season ended right now.
Oh, okay.
If the season ended right now, I'm perfectly happy.
But it doesn't. I take him.
Of course they got to play hard the rest of the year.
I take Braylon's question, though, at...
How many more games should they...
Yes.
How many more games
do they have to win
for you to be
7.
happy? Okay, so 2 more games.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
2 for you and
I need 8 because... Okay.
You guys are right there.
I need them to beat Carolina, and I need them to beat Chicago.
They will.
And then I want them to beat one more game on there. One of the three. The Vikings, at the Jets, or at the Packers. I'd like to see them win one more game that is a 50-50.
They're beating the Vikings this week.
That Packers one just got a little bit tougher. That Packers one got a little bit tougher. You think so? Watching Aaron Rodgers play, the big thing is Christian Watson has come to the party. Christian Watson over the last 5 weeks has been amazing. Like, he's doing it, running the ball,
been the best receiver,
receiving the ball. Like, he's killing it in two facets of the game. His confidence level is not going through the roof. Aaron Rodgers played. He wasn't even going to play. The fact that he played, that game now gets interesting because although they're not playing for the playoffs, if you will, they're playing to make sure we don't get in the playoffs. So they're playing to get payback for what happened with Aaron Rodgers here at Ford Field. So that game just got really interesting. But I think they do beat Minnesota, man.
I'm just so looking forward to Sunday. I wish they could hurry up and play it.
I want to go to that game so bad. I really want to go to that game. But we do our pregame here in Birmingham. By the time I get down there, I'll miss the first quarter already.
Right.
I'm not.
We should do that pregame show at like 9 o'clock.
Okay,
or 10 o'clock.
Let's talk to Adam and see if we can move that up.
You should. You no reason to do it from 11 to 1.
All right.
You should do it from like 9 to 10 or
you
9
coming
to 11.
in? You going to do it with me?
No, you got it.
Just checking.
You got it. Guys, you want to go around the NFL? Oh, wait. I want a thought on Jameson Williams. Give me that next. But first, a message from Chili Peppers Tanning.
All right, Chili Peppers Tanning. It's that time of the year. Look outside. Where's that sun? It's not going to be out very much. We all know that here in Michigan. So got to get that feeling. Got to get that vitamin D. Got to get that skin looking good. Hell, man, I'm pale as a ghost right now. I got to get the Chili Peppers Tanning. 27 locations and more on the way, too, right here in Birmingham and Royal Oak, right here on Woodward Avenue. If you join the Pepper Club, they're going to save you $5 against any competitor on unlimited tanning and more. Plus, it is the cleanest salons in the D. The hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters is chilipepperstanning.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Time to talk about Cintron, the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings. Now, for a limited time, they have combined their flavors into a limited edition 6-pack that you can purchase at CintronWorld.com/Red Wings. It is amazing. The cranberry is by far my favorite. Have one every morning before the show because coming against Maz and Ryan, you got to be on point, and that's why I use the cranberry Cintron. Guess what? They want to re-energize the community, so they've partnered with WoodwardSports.com, so we want to help them do it as well. Drink it. Live it with Cintron.
Hey guys, Dan Campbell talked about Jameson Williams making his debut. I thought it was a weird debut, but Dan Campbell spoke about his reasonings for activating Jameson Williams.
Yeah, it was honestly, today was about just getting his legs under him. Literally go through pregame, be on the sidelines. You got your pads on, man. Run into a huddle, run out, line up, wrestle with somebody one-on-one a little bit. And it was really that.
So that was Dan Campbell talking about Jameson Williams. And he did confirm, by the way, that Jameson Williams would have been the gunner on the punting team. But the Lions never punted, so
thank God,
because that report came out prior to the game, and then Howie Long is like,
what the hell?
Well, that's the Lions.
Yeah.
That's why the Lions are bad.
The Lions are lioning.
Because you put a first-round pick with an ACL injury on a special teams. It's usually not something. But anyway, he played 6 snaps. I think all or most of them were running plays. He did have one ball thrown his way and couldn't come up with it. Tough play on the sideline there. Barely a chance to catch it, but he got his hands on it. But, yeah, just kind of a weird first game, I feel like.
Yeah, I threw my Ray Charles glasses on that play. I didn't see anything. But, you know what, I understand where Dan Campbell's coming from. And we talk about this in terms of being in shape. Is not the same. Had like a widow's peak, man, like Eddie Munster right there. Being in shape is very different than being in game shape. And so when you go through that process of, waking up in the morning, getting to the stadium, getting taped, going through your regular routine, you go out there with your shorts, your T-shirts, and you got the headphones on, and you're going through your routes, your warm-up, your stretching, and then running with the quarterbacks. Like, that takes energy out of you. You do all that. You say your hellos to people you know on the other team, the other opposition. Obviously, he's going to know some guys over in Jacksonville because they got a couple guys from Alabama on that team. Then you go in. Then you put your shoulder pads on. Then you go on your meeting groups. Then you come back out with the punt returners, the wide receivers, and now you're running routes again. Now you're getting that good lather, as they say. You're breaking the sweat so that when the game starts, you're in game shape. So he's going through all this. He's learning what that process feels like because he hasn't gone through that process, especially in the NFL, never. And he hasn't been through this process since college in January. So you get through that process. Now, in terms of having him on as a gunner, I understand the reasoning. I'm trying to understand the reasoning by that. Obviously, a gunner means he's going to run down on the punt team, which is like being a wide receiver anyway. It's almost like taking a wide receiver rep. He's going to shake and bake, cook the DBs. They're no longer allowed to do 2 DBs on 1. So he's cooking a guy. It's like getting a one-on-one rep, getting down there. Somebody's probably going to fair catch it or whatever anyway. So it's getting a rep. But anything that can happen will happen, especially you, the Detroit Lions, and I'm so glad that he never got a chance to punt because you just don't want to see that happen. What happens if he gets tangled up out of bounds, et cetera, and something happens? You don't want to see that happen, but it's good that Dan Campbell got him in there with a game plan to get him some reps, to get him to go through pregame warm-ups so that he can start to feel that again. I like that end of it.
He should be fired, Dan Campbell, if he puts that kid on a special team.
I would have
fired.
to, and the kid gets hurt.
I would agree. No, fired immediately.
More bad can happen than good.
What are you kidding?
I never did special teams, and I was drafted 3rd overall. I never did special teams unless it was an onside kick. Like if it was an onside kick, then I was the hands team. Right. Outside of that, never did I once touch the field.
What are you kidding me?
Like, that's not something you do, especially when this. Not only is he a first-round draft pick, not only is he the future of your franchise from a skill weapon position. He just came off injury.
That's what I'm concerned about.
It's just like everybody has been going crazy talking about, so why would you draft a guy that's hurt? I got one better for you. Why would you play a guy that was hurt on special teams? Thank the Lord that didn't happen. I guarantee you he'll catch enough flack like this where that won't be a thing this coming week.
I had to look and see if it was April 1st.
I thought it was some BS.
I believe that.
Hey, Maz, I want to go around if we could, and just there's some big stuff that went on in the NFL yesterday. Let's go through and look at the league as a whole and what went down yesterday.
All right, how about the Jets and Viking game? That was a phenomenal game. It was on opposite the Lions. I was going back and forth. The Jets had 2 chances at the end of the game to knock the Vikings off. Vikings held them out of the end zone both times. Mike White hit Braxton Berrios in his breadbasket for a touchdown.
Like him.
And the kid dropped it. The kid dropped it.
They like Braxton Berrios. He's had two reverses for touchdowns. Yep. Had a couple opportunities.
He was a quarterback back in the day.
They like him a lot, man. They use him kind of like maybe like an Edelman, like Amendola used with the Patriots.
Mike White played his ass off, threw the ball almost 60 times, threw for just under 400 yards. They just could not get the job done. I feel terrible for Robert Saleh. Jets have lost some heartbreakers this year, but they are coming. How about that? The Eagles 11-1, and they beat the daylights out of the Titans. The final was a 35-19, 35-14, make it a 10, 35-10, 392 yards for Jalen Hurts and 4 touchdowns, 2 to Hollywood Brown.
Yeah,
against his old team.
A.J. Brown, I actually agree with Ryan on that. Ryan talked about that A.J. Brown will have a big game against his former team. He said it. He called it. I backed him on that one. That's why we both won that game. The Eagles are just rolling. You're talking about a team that knows how to win every way. They're physical at the point of attack. You see the 2 players they added in the middle, with Ndamukong Suh being the last one they added. They had Robert Quinn on the outside. Like, they just made a defense even better. And the offensive side, Jalen Hurts is rolling. And actually, if you look at it now, with Patrick Mahomes this past game, you got to look at Jalen Hurts as the odds-on favorite for MVP of the year. I mean, you just have to.
He's all right.
11-1.
I think he's breaking that Ohio State quarterback jinx. I really believe that.
That's Justin Fields.
Yeah, who are you talking about?
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts. My bad.
Jalen Hurts.
My bad. Green Bay beat Chicago 28-19.
There you go.
2 late touchdowns for Green Bay. And Christian Watson scores on the ground and 1 in the air. Browns beat Houston 27-14. They didn't score an offensive touchdown. They got 1. They got Nick Chubb. 3 special team touchdowns or defensive touchdowns for the Browns, and Watson looked horrible.
I got to tell you, I expected that. You can't not play a game for 2 years and then just think that he'll get it. He'll be fine. I fully believe that after he gets, next season specifically, and maybe even the last 2-3 games of this season. But it's going to take him some time. I mean, he hadn't played an NFL game in almost 2 years. January of 21.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I mean, we're a month away from January of 23.
Yeah, I know.
I
agree.
Come on,
2 years.
That was the easiest situation going yesterday.
Well, I'm glad the Browns got to win because I did pick them as my survivor pick.
Are you
yesterday.
Still alive?
I'm alive still.
How many teams?
3 people had Baltimore, and they should have went out.
Wow.
They beat Denver 10-9 late. Tyler Huntley scores the touchdown. We know Lamar Jackson is hurt. Hey, guys, he's hurt. He hurt his knee. Supposedly it's week to week. It's not going to be like an ACL out for the year, but, man, he rolled the dice. No contract, and this kid got hurt.
I feel bad for Lamar Jackson, and this comes from Adam Schefter. Ravens head coach John Harbaugh said Lamar Jackson's knee is days to weeks, but it's not season-ending, and there will be further testing on Monday. I just feel bad for Lamar Jackson. Ryan, you talked about this. You were definitely one of the guys that said, I wouldn't play if I was Lamar Jackson unless I had a contract. And I was one of the guys that said, you know what? Roll the dice. You can play. You see what Judge is doing. I said, roll the dice, play, and you'll have to get paid. He'll break you off. That was me. I said he picked up 20 pounds, and now you look at it. Season started off amazing. First 3 weeks, looked like he was going to be the guy to win MVP, as it always does. And then he just started falling in the second half. The defense started playing terrible in the second half. Then he started not looking like a good quarterback at all in the last 3 weeks. And now he gets this tweak. This is not a good situation for Lamar Jackson.
Here's where Lamar Jackson made a mistake, and I wish
representing himself.
Yes, and I think his mom represents him or something like that. Like I understand, man. Like it's like going to a gunfight
with a
knife or a broomstick. I mean, these guys in these rooms, or ladies, however, are so freaking smart. And I'm not saying that, but legality-wise, you never go into a negotiation without representation. You just never. You just need somebody speaking on your behalf. And that's not a knock on him. That's just, look, we don't go to law school. I don't go to law school. No. I don't know all this stuff. But, man, that's a tough decision to make, especially when you got all that money on the line.
Maz, Ryan, JB, and Fletch, there is a time and a place to expect the good in people. Mm-hmm. There is a time and a place to expect that people will do right by you. There's a time and place to expect that, hey, if I do right, then they'll treat me right. There's also a time and a place not to trust anybody.
Just not how
and in the NFL, when you're talking about contractual language, that is a time where you don't trust anybody. You got to have somebody that knows what they're doing. To what? There's a time and a place, and I understood who he was coming from. But he did everything right, and look what happened to him. There's a time and a place. Always protect yourself when it comes to the money.
Ryan, what were you asking for as your Christmas present for the Lions next year?
Lamar Jackson.
Did you see what Lamar Jackson tweeted out yesterday?
I did.
Liked on his Twitter that the Lions beat the Jags.
Yeah, go to Lamar Jackson's Twitter page.
Yep, on his Twitter page. It's the only one he did.
Sneaky.
It's the only one he did.
It's all the Ravens stuff and then the Lions.
Sneaky.
I think there is some smoke there.
There's got to be.
I think there is some smoke there.
There's got to be.
I really do.
Jim Harbaugh's
There's
up the road.
I'm just saying. 49ers, they lose a quarterback. Jimmy G goes down, broken foot. They still beat the Dolphins, and they beat them handily, 33-14. Mr. Irrelevant, the last guy picked in the draft, Brock Purdy, comes in, throws for 2 touchdowns for them. So they got Brock Purdy as their starting quarterback. They picked up another guy, I think Josh Johnson, again on waivers from Denver, from the practice squad. But they're going to be shopping for a quarterback. Who asked for their release today?
Baker Mayfield.
I'm just throwing it out there.
And this is why I throw it right back at you. Save that, and please don't ever bring his name up again on that show. The reason why I say that with Baker Mayfield, I would actually like him for the Lions in the offseason, especially at $1 million. I'll take him to the Lions now. I thought Baker was in the situation where Baker has to get broken before he can become a better quarterback. Like, basically,
he's broke.
Well, it depends. he failed with the Cleveland Browns. He's failed with the Carolina Panthers. If he was to go to the 49ers right now, that's not failing because he's getting into another situation. He needs to start from scratch at the end of the year. Brock Purdy, I leave him in there as quarterback. And this is why. This is absolutely why. That defense for the freaking 49ers is insane. That defense for the 49ers is they're insane at every level. They're insane interiorly. They're insane on the outside. They're insane at the second level with Warner. They're insane with that secondary. And then on offense, you got enough weapons on offense to slow the game down and help Brock Purdy out. I'll leave it as is, Brock Purdy.
Come on, man. If there was ever a perfect situation, Kyle Shanahan, quarterback whisperer, you get a broken guy, he gets reunited with Christian McCaffrey.
Maz, you keep going.
I don't know.
Don't say reunited because they just met this year.
I know that, man.
You keep going with Baker, and I'm not yelling at you. Remember, I'm not yelling.
That's fine.
I just wouldn't use Baker because right now the situation works because the quarterbacks that play for the 49ers, Maz, they don't do too much. Like, they don't do too much. They trust in Kyle.
That's perfect.
No, but that's not Baker, though. Baker's going to do too much. Like, Baker would be the only quarterback to go out there and F that situation
He's got
up,
weapons, man.
But he's going to try to be Baker Mayfield, the Heisman Trophy winner. And Jimmy G's proven you don't have to be that.
Here's the deal with the San Francisco 49ers.
I feel bad for Jimmy G.
Their defense has allowed over 20 points one time.
Their last 5 weeks are amazing.
Two times. Two times they've allowed. This is week 13. They've allowed
14.
over 20 twice. You just got to get to 20. If you're,
and that's why I wouldn't bring Baker Mayfield.
You got Debo. You got Christian McCaffrey.
Ayuk.
If you can get to 20,
Kittle,
you could win that game. Think about that. That is not a lot of points in the National Football League. It's just not.
Yeah, Denver knows something about that.
20 and you win.
Man, that's my Super Bowl pick. They can't win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. They can't.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think they can get close, but they're not going to Philadelphia and winning a game. Brock Purdy is not going to Philadelphia and winning a game. I agree with you.
The thing about it is I understand that, but you got to realize it's not about Brock Purdy going to win that game. It's how damn good that defense is, and it's how damn good your weapons are on offense. So I'm just saying you don't have to do much.
Guys, speaking of doing much, you don't have to do much other than give this number a call to protect yourselves. It is the holiday season. You've got porch pirates out there. You've got unsavory things happening all over the place. Give yourself a gift. Guardian Alarm, they keep you safe, give you peace of mind, whether you are at home or on the road. They're 24/7 local monitoring. Make sure what is important to you is safe. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. Peace of mind. 1-800-STAY-OUT. Call
Stay
today.
out.
Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Get out of here.
Get out. Stay out.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff a Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
It's Big Boy time, and for a limited time only, you can get down to Big Boy for those loaded fries and those brand new burgers and the new Slim Jim. Now the Big Jim. How about the bacon blue, the chili cheeseburger, and those fries? You got to dress them up. Nacho fries, nacho cheese fries, chili cheese fries, baked potato fries. Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Hey gang, welcome back to WoodwardSports.com. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards. Time now for the Swiss Insurance Play of the Game.
Swiss Insurance Play of the Game, and this is the coverage of the game. We're going to take a look at the Houston sack. Right now, we have man-to-man. What is this? Cover one man-to-man. You see, say one safety high. DB, 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 everybody across the board. Go ahead, hit the next play for me, Flex. As you see, still man high. Go two over there. You look across the board, that's man coverage. On the outside, you'll see the right outside. Who's outside on this play? The right
James
hand?
Houston.
Yeah, no, James Houston's on the inside. He's going to sneak through the inside. But you'll see James Houston come and sneak, and they run a stunt. So they run a stunt. But because the coverage is so good on the outside on the receivers, you see Okuda down here. You see the DBs up top. You see they're playing off a little bit, expecting something to come in, Anzalone, if you will. Because the coverage is so good, you get what's called a cover set. Hit the next frame for me. And now he's looking. Trevor Lawrence has a nice tight pocket right now. He wants to get rid of the ball. He wants to throw to somebody, but everybody's covered. And because everybody's covered, guy by the name of Houston's going to sneak in here off the stunt, next play, get the sack. Almost tore up Trevor Lawrence's knee. I'm glad he didn't do that. That's right. But he gets the sack. That is the Swiss Insurance coverage of the game, and the coverage is because the coverage was so good on the outside by the safeties in the corner. It allowed Houston to get in there and get that sack. That's the kind of coverage you want. That's why you want Swiss Insurance on your team.
James Houston from
Jackson State.
There you go.
Jackson State used to play for Deion Sanders over there, who is on his way to Colorado. We will talk about that tomorrow. Before we get out of here, Brother, I did want to make mention today, Justin Verlander has signed a 2-year deal worth $86 million to pitch for the New York Mets.
Teaming up with his homeboy.
Unbelievable. If you're a Tigers fan, you just have to be sick to your stomach. Verlander and Scherzer back together again.
Making $100 million
in
a year
the Big Apple
combined.
Justin Verlander signed for the identical salary of Max Scherzer, $43.33 million per year.
Cohen's got a lot of money.
I'm telling you,
this
man.
time they have a closer. They've got Edwin Diaz. Start playing those trumpets.
Don't do that.
They didn't have that in Detroit. If they did, we'd be a 2-time World Series champion here in the last 10 years.
Here's the interesting thing. With the whole Judge situation, now obviously Cohen has the handshake agreement with the Yankees. Say, hey, we won't go after your guy. We're next door. We're neighbors. We won't do that because we don't want you guys to do that to us. Do you say, you know what, the hell with that? We need to win a championship, and he's a guy that can win us a World Series. Do you say that, or do you honor whatever relationship or agreement they have?
Hey, man, billionaires are billionaires because they don't do that.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
They don't do that.
It's a 2-team race. It's Giants or Yankees. Mets don't have a shot to get them.
I mean, $400 million is a lot of money. Pay for a guy that already had his best season. He'll never have as good a season as he just had. So No,
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just like, you know what? It's
Trey Turner just signed 11 years, $300 million.
Exactly.
With the Phillies.
I'm like, you know
Dave
what?
Dombrowski,
I take a run at him. Why not? It's Aaron Judge. Like, players like that, he's not a generational talent. Like, players don't ever come around like how Aaron Judge, the season that he just had this past year, especially with the way they're pitching these days. No one has seasons like that. I say the hell with a handshake. I go after him.
If I were the Giants, I would not let him go anywhere. They need him. They have nobody in that lineup. He would make that team. But of course, the Yankees will offer him the captaincy and probably match the money. That's up to him now.
Quarterback from Florida, Anthony Richardson, going pro. That's somebody that the Lions could look at in round 2.
I think
perhaps.
they've been looking at him.
Yeah, absolutely. Braylon, get us out of here. Big day.
Hell of a show. Big day by us, man. You know what? Detroit Lions get the win. We'll talk about them all week. And what are their realistic odds of getting to the playoffs? Obviously, Michigan's going to play against TCU. What does that game look like? Max Duggan versus J.J. McCarthy. We will talk about that in depth. And also, let's get into some Pistons talk this week. Pistons not having a very good year. So let's start to dive in there. We will have the associate GM on this week to give us some answers from my man JB Fletch. Mass, hell of a show by you. I know you weren't feeling good. Appreciate you coming in. When you didn't feel good. Ryan, love you. Glad you're here.
You know what time it is.
Hey, man, you know what time it is, man. Ermanni and Edwards with Mass.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.